Welcome to Marriage Mastery, Self Love Monday, the podcast that explores the intersection of personal growth and thriving relationships. I'm your host, Ron Simplified Myers. Today we have a powerful topic to cover. It's actually part two of a two-part segment. We'll be exploring self compassion in your relationship. Love begins within. Now, if you haven't had the opportunity to listen to part one, go back, listen to that, then come back and listen to this. But make sure you listen to both. Don't use this as an excuse to go somewhere else, because I definitely know the information is valuable and will help you in your relationships. And most important, as we're talking about, this is Self Love Monday, which is the first relationship we have to get together, which is with ourselves. So think about this. When we think about relationships, we often focus on the love we give and receive from our partner. However, as I just stated, it's important to recognize that the foundation of any successful relationship begins with self love and self compassion. I had a friend a while back who had called me and asked me to help them get their daughter out of a relationship. And she was telling me, she said, "You know the guy, you know he ain't no good, you know he's a dog." I said, "True, true. But he's not the problem. Your daughter is." And she's like, "Whoa, Ronnie, I can't believe you said that. Why would you say that?" I said, "Wait, calm down, calm down, calm down, relax." I said, "Think about this. When your daughter learns her value, learns how to love herself, she'll get rid of him. She doesn't need me for that. So if she's interested in learning to love herself more, that I'd be willing to help her with. Because until she changes the way she sees herself, she's going to go back to him. Or, as we all know, she'll get someone just like him." Now, some of you here just probably said, "Ooh, I say that all the time. Why do I keep attracting the same person?" Because you haven't changed. Therefore, you keep looking for the same people, you're accepting the same things because you haven't changed the way you see about yourself. So, this particular segment, hopefully, you got something out of that example. But here, we really want to talk about self compassion, which would probably work in this example also, because the person has to forgive themselves for being able to accept someone like that into their life and forgive themselves for that based on where they saw themselves. And now let's go get ourselves together, and then we can make a future decision that's best for us. So anyway, what we want to talk about, as we're talking about here, is how self compassion is crucial in nourishing and sustaining a healthy, fulfilling partnership. And also with yourself is considered a partnership. Now, self compassion is the practice of treating oneself with kindness, understanding, and acceptance, especially during the times of struggle or difficulty, because this is the time that we beat ourselves the most, is when things aren't going well. As we know, we say good things about ourselves, we treat ourselves good when things are going well, just like other people do. But the key is, how do we treat ourselves when things aren't going well? So in a relationship, it involves extending that same compassion that we're learning to have for ourselves. We're going to be able to do that with others. But until we learn how to do that with ourselves, guess what? How do we give that to others? So again, this means forgiving ourselves for our mistakes, embracing our worthiness of love and compassion, and also the feeling like we deserve to be happy. Who was I sharing this with? I was talking to a young lady. It was when I was managing a CVS, and I went and took the drawer. I was going to get the drawers for the registers, so I can count the cash. And the ladies back there were talking about guys, and I told them, I said, "Y'all don't want a good man anyway." And they looked and they started laughing. They said, "Why you say that?" I said, "Because the moment you get one, you get rid of them." And they start cracking up, and they were like, "Oh, that's so funny. That's true." They like, "Why did we do that?" And I said, "You want to know why?" And they looked at me, and I said, "Because you haven't figured out your value. You haven't figured out your worth. When you understand that you're valuable and you understand your worth," kind of like the first example I shared with, you understand the guy is supposed to treat you well. It's amazing when I hear women say, um, he was too good. He's too good. He's too nice. That's the one they use. He's too nice. How are you too nice? You have a man that will bend over backwards for you, and that's not the one you want? You want the one that you don't know if he's going to come home, if he's going to call, if he's going to be there. You don't know anything because he keeps you in the dark, because he doesn't tell you. You don't know how he feels. You don't know. That's the one you want versus the one that will bend over backwards for you. Again, because you haven't figured out your value. And when you figure that out, you understand he's supposed to treat you that way, just as you're supposed to do that to your partners. Relationships are not supposed to be complicated, even though the world keeps telling you that. It's not supposed to. You've been programmed into that. It's supposed to be, I use the example, life is going to give me challenges without you. If you're in my life, you're here to help me attack those challenges that come across my path, as I'm going to help you attack the ones that come down your path. So guess what? That means our lives should be easier, not harder. If it is, you're picking the wrong person. Now, don't misinterpret what I'm saying. You're going to disagree. Welcome to the real world. I always tell people, give me 5 minutes, I'm going to disagree with myself. So, of course, I'm going to disagree with you. But the difference is, it's me and you versus whatever the obstacle is. It's never me versus you. So anyway, let's get back to self-compassion, because it impacts how we relate to our partner and everyone else that crosses our path. When we have self-compassion, we become better equipped to handle conflicts and challenges. We develop a healthier sense of self-worth, which we keep talking about. It also allows you to set boundaries. You communicate your needs effectively, and ultimately, it contributes to a more balanced and fulfilled partnership. Take a few moments each day to check in with yourself and become aware of your thoughts, your emotions, and your needs. Now, this can be done through mindfulness meditation, or simply by just pausing and reflecting on your inner state, those thoughts that are popping in your head. And folks, do not fight the voice. Let me repeat that. Do not fight the voice. You've heard the saying, what you resist persists. We gonna get that right in there somewhere. But anyway, what you resist persists. In other words, what you fight against will keep showing back up. I remember I was at an event one time, and I got pulled on the stage, and the guy told me, he said, tell everyone, Ron, that you're not a cat burglar. And I looked at him crazy, but then I said, okay, I'm not a cat burglar. He said, Ron, you got to say it stronger than that. I said, I'm not a cat burglar. He said, Ron, I don't think they believe you. He said, I think you need to put more into it. Let them know. I said, I am not a cat burglar. And he asked the room, and in unison, he said, what do you guys think of Ron? And they said, he's a cat burglar. And I'm like, how? I just told you guys I'm not. Because what you resist, I kept resisting, people start to believe it must be true. Folks, take this into everything that you do. You'll notice that the more you start to fight stuff, the more people believe that you're actually guilty. It's amazing, but it works that way. So back to when we're talking about that voice, don't fight the voice, because fighting the voice will almost guarantee that it will continue to carry on with that same conversation. And for most people, it's going to create stress. This is a good time to practice your listening skills. Hear it out, thank it for sharing, and let it know, I got it from here. I actually shared that at an event. I told people, I heard the voice, and I told the voice, you know what? I don't mind you talking, but could you quiet down a little bit? I'll get back to you later, because right now I'm trying to sleep, and the whole room started cracking up. The reason is I was having fun with the voice. Folks, learn to have fun with the voice so that you don't get stressed out. Understand that stuff that's built up from the past, from the world, things you've seen on TV, family, friends, etc. All that stuff is stored inside your brain, and all that stuff is just coming out. Just like on a computer, it's just all there, all this data. Don't sit there and fight it. It's there. Just tell it, let it have its share, and then say, thank you for sharing. I got it from here. Now, for those of you who have a hard time sleeping because of the voice, Here's a great exercise. Keep a pad of paper near the bed with a pen. When the voice talks, and it definitely will, write down what it's talking about and allow the voice to know we got this. We'll get to it tomorrow. We'll get to it tomorrow. And folks, you don't have to write out some long, drawn out thing. Just write down a couple of words, what it is we're talking about. Call such and such. Attend this event. Watch this show. Whatever it is, something real quick. It lets the voice know I've acknowledged you and I got it from here. Just do that, and folks, you'll be amazed at how you can fall asleep just by doing that one exercise. And again, you don't have to open up your eyes. Just write something real short on a piece of paper and go back to sleep. I know it sounds crazy, but try it. Now, make sure you stay attuned with all your experiences and you can understand and regulate the emotions, which in turn positively impacts your interactions with loved ones. Folks, all I'm saying here is listen to look at your experiences, acknowledge the experiences, the way you feel about the things that took place. Understand those and be okay with the emotions that show up. Do not run from your emotions. Allow them to come out and then decide what's the best course of action to take after you've listened to the story, you've heard it out, and you sit down and you basically decide what's the best course that we should take positively that will impact our relationships with our loved ones based on the decision we're going to make after we've taken in all this information. Now, also, self-compassion helps individuals develop emotional resilience, which allows you to address challenges and conflicts in your relationships more effectively. It involves having a non-judgment and accepting attitude towards yourself and others. Now, what this mindset encourages you to do is to turn inward and reflect on your own thoughts, emotions, and needs, which we talked about. By developing a deeper understanding of yourself, individuals become more aligned with their own experiences, which in turn enhances your ability to empathize with others. This self-awareness serves as a foundation for effective communication and becomes empathetic in understanding people inside of your relationships. You start to treat them with kindness and understanding, and individuals become better equipped to manage stress, disappointment, and difficult emotions, allowing you to maintain a healthier, more balanced interactions with yourself and loved ones. And as I keep saying, the one with self is the most important, because if I get this relationship taken care of first, it makes it very easy to go and turn around and do the same thing with others. So when we have self-compassion, as we said before, you understand and you get a deeper understanding and acceptance of your imperfections, your struggles, and this self-awareness can translate into greater empathy and understanding for other people. Understanding that you are human, you are vulnerable. You're more likely to extend the same understanding, compassion to your partners, your friends, your family members, and it helps to maintain or create an attitude of non-judgment and self-acceptance. So when you treat yourself with kindness, understanding, you're more likely to extend that same attitude to others. And this non-judgmental stance creates a safe and supportive environment for open communication where individuals feel comfortable expressing their thoughts, feelings, and concerns without the thoughts of criticism or rejection. Here's an example. Replace your critical statements with self-compassionate ones. For example, instead of saying, "I'm so stupid for making that mistake," say, "It's understandable that I made a mistake. I'm human and I'll learn from it." Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer to a friend in a similar situation. Also, self-compassion can create an open and honest communication in relationships. When individuals are kind to themselves, they're more inclined to express their needs, desires, and concerns in a respectful manner. We're also more receptive to feedback and less defensive, creating a safer space for open dialogue and effective resolutions of conflicts. It promotes active listening in relationships. And when we practice active listening, and that means which is very rare that most people actually do it. Most of us, when someone is talking, we're waiting so we can continue the conversation and give our input, or we're cutting people off, bottom line. But we're not allowing people to say and really take in what they're saying. And therefore, that's not listening. That's you being the talker. And as the saying goes, I've never learned anything through talking. Why? Because talking, you're just sharing what you already know. I can't gain more knowledge if I'm not listening. So let's practice active listening. Also, when you practice the self compassion, you usually have a genuine curiosity and interest in one, your own experiences. And that mindset, of course, is going to extend to others. If you're willing to be curious about your own experiences and go into them and learn from them. As I was just having this conversation with a guy last night, the experiences that we have without them, think about it. If you could snap your fingers, some of you have heard me use this example before. If you could snap your fingers and get everything you want, how boring would life be? I know it sounds good, but think about it. If we could snap our fingers right now and ice cream is right there because that's what we wanted. We eat the ice cream and then we look at each other and go, what next? The obstacles, the things that we're running from, that's called life. That is the journey. We've heard life is about the journey. That's what it means. It's like playing a video game. You can't go to the next stage until you address the current stage. Level, we should say. For those that play, we call it levels. But life is the same way. You're going to keep getting, as people call it, the same thing keeps showing up. Why? Because you haven't addressed it. You haven't been figured out how to go to the next phase. That's why you keep attracting the same people. You keep attracting the same experiences because you haven't learned from them in order to to position yourself to stay away from those particular incidents. Like I had a guy that says every time he goes to clubs, fights break out. Folks, every time I go to bar, I don't even see people argue. What's the difference? It's the person that's showing up. He's probably in almost every fight at every place that he goes because of who he is. Remember, when you show up, who you are is the person you bring to the environment. We got to make sure that person is a person who's at peace with themselves, and this becomes true as we practice this self-compassion. Okay, so by actively listening, you demonstrate empathy, and that will normally translate into a deeper understanding of your partner, your friends, family members, and most important, with yourself. Now, this self-compassion also creates emotional well-being, which is crucial for communication and empathy. It allows a person to be more present and emotionally available in your relationships, and it allows you to do it calmly and compassionately. It allows acknowledgement and validation of a person's emotions without judgment. That's the major one, without judgment, which is so hard for most of us. But by not becoming overwhelmed by your own reactions, you can be more present and you can be supportive with your loved ones as they express their emotions, allowing empathy and understanding, and you do the same thing with yourself. Taking care of your own emotional needs and practicing self-care, you have more energy and capacity to support and connect with loved ones. And if you can practice this, it'll lead to a deeper emotional intimacy, intimacy, and stronger bonds in your relationships. Now, this self-compassion can also reduce and eliminate relationship anxiety and insecurity. By developing a kind and understanding attitude towards yourself, individuals become less dependent on outside sources, outside people, and you become more self-assured. And that is powerful when you're self-assured. The person that has to be the most confident in you, it's you. And when you get this clarity, it allows for compassion, and that attribute encourages individuals to take a broader perspective when engaging in relationships. In other words, you become more open to other people's thoughts and processes without judging. Because I always said, when you're very confident in who you are and you don't need anything from others, It makes it a lot easier to have a conversation with them because you're not looking for what they can give you. If anything, you're looking to see what is it that I can actually give you or help you out. So by recognizing your own imperfections, your own struggles, you become human and more understanding when it comes to other people and their issues. And so taking on this perspective allows you to see beyond surface level behaviors and appreciate the motivations, the need of your partner, friends, and family. It also helps you understand yourself a little bit more. It promotes empathy and it helps you respond with understanding and compassion in those challenging and definitely when you get in those situations where there's conflict. The better you get at the self compassion, it reduces clinginess, jealousy, fear of rejection, and it starts to create a healthier, more secure attachment style in your life. Now, we're talking about learning how to embrace your mistakes and failures with kindness and forgiveness because this mindset, as we said, will extend to your relationships, allowing you to forgive your partner's friends or family members for their shortcomings and their past mistakes. You can eliminate with the self compassion. You can let go of your grudges, your resentments, your unrealistic expectations of yourself and others. You start to promote forgiveness and you create a more positive and harmonious relationship environment. Self compassion contributes to effective conflict resolution in your relationships. Again, when you're self compassion, you're less likely to engage in self criticism or blame during conflicts. Instead, you approach conflicts with a problem solving mindset, seeking mutual understanding and resolution. Now, this approach to conflict, it encourages open communication, active listening, and empathy, leading to more constructive and positive outcomes. When your partner or anyone, and especially again, when talking with yourself, when you practice compassion, it allows you to be, as we're saying, better at your communication, better at the empathy, because you have compassion. And most people, unfortunately, lack this compassion, and therefore they look at the world as from where they're standing. As we always hear, you can't talk to people in your current shoes, not talk to people, but you can't understand where a person comes unless you get into their shoes. And most people think I'm in their shoes and I still wouldn't do what they do. Well, you still have your shoes on, and there's the conflict. You have to be able to get out of your shoes and then step into theirs. So the bottom line, as we talk about this self-compassion, it does positively impact relationships and oneself by manifesting emotional resilience, some empathy, open communication, emotional availability. It reduces your anxiety and forgiveness. It also allows you to cultivate happier, healthier, and more fulfilling connections with your partners, your friends, your family members, yourself, leading to a greater relationship satisfaction and well-being. Most importantly, it manifests inner awareness, non-judging attitudes, active listening, emotional regulation, being able to have a different perspective when you're listening to others. You get effective conflict resolution. So practicing this, you create a supportive and empathetic space for connection and understanding with yourself and with your loved ones. So I hope through this conversation you understand between the first segment and this segment that you're now possess the clarity and the knowledge, and you recognize the impact that self-compassion holds in your everyday existence. Ensure that you diligently add this into your life until it becomes a part of who you are, your being, and you're doing it with no conscious effort. It's just who you are. It's a part of who you are. So anyway, as you guys know, that it ain't right, it ain't wrong. It is my opinion. Had to throw that in there real quick. But make sure that, because everything I share with you are my opinions. Folks, nobody has all the answers. But I'm sharing with you my perspectives, things that I believe will help you, and I know they will. Um, but they're things that I've experienced or through almost 35, 40 years of learning about people and why they do what they do. And, um, and that's why I believe I have some great insights on a lot of things. But anyway, make sure you tune in to our Thursday podcast, which is Marriage Builder Thursday, where we unlock insights to strengthening your relationship's foundations. But until then, remember, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Take care.